And that is where we'll end the space weather section. It's time to begin the meteorology segment, which should be pretty interesting indeed, as we've got some epic weather. Shout out to our viewers from Florida. We are delighted that you're able to see the content. And thanks for leaving a comment, Tinman1057. Good morning to you as well. So the first thing we're going to look at here is sea surface temperature, because there's some very hot water there in the Eastern Gulf. So let's take a look at it here at the Smash News Network Least Busted Name and News, as the eye of that hurricane is over 86-degree water. So what's going to happen here is it's going to move a little north, and then it's going to suddenly move to the east, and it's going to de-intensify the winds, but that's not going to stop the rains. So the amount of rain Florida's going to get here is going to be shocking, and we hope everybody has evacuated as recommended by your local authorities. And we hope that some of our viewers are able to be assets instead of liabilities during such a disastrous amount of water showing up. But that's the current state of affairs as far as the sea surface temperatures. That hot water over the Eastern Gulf not helping things out, aiding into convection. Now, again, the winds are going to suddenly de-intensify as that makes a turn to the east, but that's not going to stop shocking amounts of rain. We'll get to the rain forecast here in a moment. First, we're going to show what we show most days, the surface winds and jet streams around the planet. So there you have the surface winds of the east. Here are the jet streams of the east. Jet streams of the western world. Surface winds of the western world. And the nullschool.net map is indeed showing at least 85 mile per hour winds there. Probably a little bit higher, but the nullschool.net map often underestimates the wind speeds. Here are the surface winds of the central world, and here are the jet streams. If you head to your weather.gov map, you'll see Florida is lit up with all kinds of warnings. There are even some tornado warnings there in the southeastern portion of the state. Massive freeze and frost warnings there. Freeze warnings and frost advisories in a large portion of the north central U.S. But of course, the story is indeed Florida. So tropical storm warnings, hurricane warnings, tornado warnings, hurricane watches, storm surge warnings. If your county or area is lit, click your county at weather.gov. We'll give you the forecasts for the storm track here. South Carolina, you're in the crosshairs. So here's your 72-hour pressure and precipitation forecast. And again, that hurricane is expected to make a turn to the east and then go almost due north, and then actually turn to the west a little bit, bringing massive rains to Georgia and South Carolina as well. Here's your total accumulated precipitation forecast based on the GFS model. That's the 72-hour total accumulated precipitation forecast. And large areas expecting as much as 2 feet of rain there. That's the northeastern portion of Florida. And 2 feet of rain is a little bit more than a flat area like Florida can handle. That will hang around for a long time and be a complete disaster. So a huge swath of very heavy rains there expected. That yellow area, that is over 16 inches of rain there. So that's a shocking amount of water. And the GFS forecast for the next 72 hours not likely to be incorrect. So heed that warning. Once again, shout out to our viewers from Florida. Here is your pressure and wind forecast. Again, you're going to see the wind de-intensify as the low moves over land, and then it's going to re-intensify a little bit before crashing into South Carolina. So the winds will kick back up there in about 2 days. That's your likely storm track. We're also going to show you the European forecast. So that's the GFS 72-hour pressure and wind forecast. And here is the Euro forecast. So this is just showing pressure here. And let's advance this 3 days. So the Euro model there is showing pretty similar track, pretty similar intensification, and expecting landfall there right around the South Carolina-Georgia border. Continuing on to our lightning mapper, there's the last about 10 hours of lightning. Quite a strong lightning signal there around the center of that hurricane. Give that a minute to spool up. And let's check out a real-time lightning map. Are there any terrestrial strikes in the U.S.? Indeed. At least one lightning strike there around northern Florida at the Mallory Swamp. Next time you hear thunder, check it out. lightningmaps.org. It could save your you-know-what. So here's the current Doppler radar situation. Again, very heavy rains there over central Florida. And lots more to come. And let's zoom out. We'll show the full 50 states view here briefly, as there's some precipitation showing up in Alaska as well. We'll focus on the lower 48 for the remainder of the video. Here is a shortwave radiation map showing clouds and fog. And here is water vapor. Now this dry mass of air right here is helping to constrain the system. It is not aiding it, but it is helping to push it to the east. So basically that dry mass of air is sort of saving the Florida Panhandle and causing havoc on the rest of the state. Kind of forcing the storm to sort of take this path. We're actually going to zoom in to close out the video today. There's what's going on at the moment. Things clearing up here for southern Florida. Places like Miami only seeing some showers at this point. Here is clouds and fog. 3.9 nanometer infrared radiation. And there is the water vapor map. Yowzers. That is a lot of moisture. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to the Daily Space Weather. Once again, we hope you're an asset, not a liability, in the event of a disaster. And may that solar wind be at your back.